Hi, ladies, it's Melanie. During this time, like before Passover and into unleavened bread, we all are very much focused on what God has done for us and getting sin out of our lives and just making the changes that He wants us to change. Sometimes it's actually a sin we're getting rid of, or sometimes it's just a bad habit, or a way that we communicate, or a way that we think things, whatever God's asking us to change. There's so many different ways that we all need to change that the options are endless. But we know that He wants what's best for us. And yet sometimes it's still hard to make the change, to let go or just change in whatever way He's asking us to. And as I was reading in Exodus 31, 21, and 22, 21 says, "And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, and it will come to pass that when you go out of Egypt, you will not go out empty." That promise hit me so hard and let me think of that verse in a completely different way than I had before. Going out empty. Think of anything you're trying to overcome. It could be anger issues or gossip or lying or the security of money, whatever it is. Why is it hard to give it up? Why is it hard to let it go? Because it provides something for us. And giving it up might feel like going out empty. And he promises we won't. But I'm going to give you a few examples here, because I've heard so many of these. Unhealthy relationships. Sometimes we're with a group of friends. It can even be in our congregations, honestly, where maybe some people are very negative or gossip a lot. And maybe we really want more godly friendships and to be around, just a healthier group of people. But maybe we feel a sense of belonging here or familiarity, or maybe they're the popular crowd and it would be hard to leave them. Might we just be left feeling lonely, where that companionship used to be? That's a hole, that's empty. It's an empty feeling. What if you're someone who is just an overworker? Maybe it's your sense of identity so that people will respect you or so that you'll feel approved. Our motivations for things are sometimes so hard to discover, or sometimes it just keeps us busy from having to think about feelings we don't want to think about. But what if we took some quieter time? Might we be stuck with our feelings, or if we didn't let people know what we were doing, might we not be as well thought of or as well respected? Um, there's so many. I know a lot of us put up emotional walls for safety, for just not feeling like confrontational all the time and just feeling like just stay to ourselves. If we opened up more and let ourselves be vulnerable, what would that feel like? Would that be scary? Coping habits. Phones are a huge thing. Maybe we swipe on our phone for ages longer than we think we are, just to escape our emotions, just to escape the stress of normal life. What if we didn't? That might feel empty. And so, whatever you're fighting, whatever you're afraid to give up, what void is it that you're trying to fill? And could it be that it's hard to give it up because you really are afraid it will go unfilled? We know that He's offering us, like He says in the New Testament, if we drink of the water that He gives us, we'll never thirst again. But we thirst for things. And ultimately, we're kind of afraid that even though we know that that's what He's offering us, maybe that won't be how it works for us. Maybe just not in this scenario. So instead, we keep drinking of or partaking of whatever it is that fills the hole, even if we have to keep doing it. At least it works for a little while, and it'll keep working as long as we keep doing it. But ultimately, we're just afraid of going out empty. But God promises that you won't. You can have faith in this promise. Continuing this verse is pretty cool. It says, "Every woman shall borrow from her neighbor and of her that sojourns in her house jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and you shall put them on your sons and daughters, and you shall spoil the Egyptians." So not only is he promising that we won't go out empty, he's saying that we can use the jewels and the riches that he gives us to clothe our children. Let's face it, right now, our bad habits rub off on our kids. And unfortunately, all the time they see us on phones, they're picking that up. The way that we maybe have anger issues, they're picking that up. Everything that we do. So instead of clothing them with that, we get to clothe them with riches. And I'll go into a second what those riches look like, but that's an amazing promise. But he also says, if you won't go out empty if you submissively ask. And I say that because notice that it's the women that we're supposed to ask for the riches, the tender, submissive ones, right? Not the men, the more forceful and demanding ones who would ask for the riches. So when we walk away from our sin, if we ask with a submissive and humble attitude rather than like angrily or even forcefully, for those great riches, which might look like closeness to Him or a full heart, safety, companionship, value, love. These are all great riches that we're all looking for, and He promises to give them to us. We won't go out empty. And in that way, we can spoil that which ensnares us. Spoil just means to strip the value away from. So we're valuing it right now, but once we see that it doesn't work and God provides even better, we'll see that it never had any value at all. And that's amazing. And we can clothe our sons and daughters with that. Um, one cautionary note that he gives us that I think is actually also just really uplifting is that it's going to get harder before it gets easier. I know that doesn't seem very uplifting, but this is usually when we do choose to second guess and go right back because we're feeling empty, right? I guess think about the Israelites. They believed when Moses came to them that he had come to free them. But then their work got even harder because they weren't given straw. They had to go far and wide to try to find some way to make their life work at the same level that it did before. Do you ever feel that way? Just like when you start to give something up, now you have to work a lot harder to fill that void than you did before. They felt that way too. And I think that's the time when we're like, forget it, I'm going back. I'm going back to Egypt because I tried and it didn't work. And that's exactly how they felt. But please don't. I know that the wilderness looks desolate. I think it's kind of supposed to. We look at the physical and we see that nothing survives there. It doesn't make sense that if we go through a desert, we'd be even more provided for and will even thrive. That looks like death to us. It doesn't look like thriving because that's how God works, right? Um, Leaning on our understanding doesn't work. Instead, we're one with the God that brings water out of rocks in the middle of the desert, that brings food from nothing. From midair, food arrives, and who makes bitter things sweet. And that's the God that we serve, and He promises to provide. Stick with it, and you won't go out empty. Thank you guys. I hope you have a great feast.